Hi, I'm Katie from the Seekonk Public Library, and if you're like me and this time of year puts you in the mood for a scary book, I have a recommendation for you. It's called Daughters Unto Darkness by Amy Lukavics. It's a young adult book. I read it a couple of years ago and it caught my attention because of the cover. I don't know if you can really tell, but it's girl's got her hair on her face and you can't see her face. It just reminded me so much of the movie The Ring, which scared the daylights out of me. And this book did too. So one of the blurbs on the back, an author said that it's kind of like if Stephen King had written Little House on the Prairie. And that's pretty accurate because it's a horror book and it takes place on the prairie, in a log cabin. So Amanda and her family had had a horrible winter and they had decided they were going to get a fresh start and they were going to move to the prairie. The previous winter, Amanda's pregnant mother had gotten very ill, and when she had the baby was born blind and deaf and constantly crying. It was also a horrible winter because there were just blizzard after blizzard after blizzard. And you also get the impression that something bad happened to Amanda, that she wasn't quite in her right mind, maybe cabin fever or something like that. So they decided that they needed a fresh start. They were going to move to the prairie. They had heard that this part of the prairie there were lots of cabins that had been abandoned because workers had moved on. And they only found one cabin, and there was a reason that it was abandoned. When they opened the door, they saw that the floor and the walls were covered in this substance that, with the smell and the flies, could only be blood. And the father's like, oh, well, somebody must have slaughtered an oxen in here. That's all it is. I can clean this up and make it, spick and span just like new. But the rest of the family they weren't buying it. They were thinking, why would somebody slaughter an animal in a house? And from there, things just got weirder. The house was nice now. The father fixed it up and they met one of the neighbors who was a doctor and his son. But some of the stories the doctor's son told them about the prairie seemed a little too accurate. And then Amanda started seeing things and hearing things, and she started worrying that what happened last winter was going to happen again. But what actually happened was so much worse. And it was horrifying. The last quarter of this book, I was literally horrified at what I was reading and the pictures it painted in my head. I'm telling you, if you want to be scared, I highly recommend Daughters Unto Devils.